This is an SM Media production.
Hello and welcome to the Rangers Assessment. I'm your host Scott McKay and delighted to be joined by Colin MacDuff. Colin, how you doing?
Very well, Scott. Thanks for having me on, mate.
No, no bother at all. Just for coming on, mate. Just for coming on. Just to touch upon the Aird game. We mini preview Ross County Wednesday coming up. So a few changes to the lineup. Yesterday, seen Nico Raskin, Borna Barisic and Ryan Jack come back into his side. Diamondi played in the 10, debut Oscar Cortez as well. Fabio Silva come back in up front. What was your thoughts in the lineup?
I actually thought it was weirdly stronger than expected. I wasn't expecting wholesale changes. I think with these cup games, it's a hard balance. Half the fans want the big name players, if you like, so to speak, who don't usually get a rest to be rested for tougher opposition. And I don't mean any disrespect to the United there. On the other hand, a lot of fans don't want any disruption to the momentum, and I can get both sides. So, no, I think it was quite a strong team. I think it was the right mixture, resting the likes of John Lundstrom, Todd Cantwell, but it was still, when you look at that lineup, it's still a strong 11 we put out, Scott.
Aye, definitely. One thing that surprised me with the lineup was Diamandi getting played in the 10 role. Thought it was a wee bit of change as well. Obviously, Tom Lawrence came out. I think Rangers are starting to manage his fitness a wee bit better. I think we've learned for past mistakes with him and Ryan Jack that if you play them consecutively, they're going to, chances are their body's going to break down again at some point. With Tom Lawrence, we kind of rushed him back to fitness quite quickly the last couple of times that he's come back for his injury that put him out at the end of last season. So I was a wee bit surprised, but I wasn't shocked about it either. What was your thoughts on Diamandi?
Diamandi, it's funny, man. I don't know where to play him. I really don't. I like the look of him. He does, and I should caveat everything that I'm going to say about yesterday's game, that although it is lower league opposition, it is tough to judge players on that game alone because it's such a stuffy game against a team playing against, a team playing their cup final. And again, I don't mean any disrespect to United there. So these games, how many times have we played low opposition at Ibrox and we expect 7, 8, 9, nothing? It never really works out like that. But on Diamandi, I actually thought he did look quite sharp. I think when I was saying we don't know where to play him, because the reports were that he was a number 8, he was a forward-thinking number 8, but we've seen him in the number 10, and I can see why the manager's maybe trying him out there. He does have such a caressing first touch. He's got before the ball comes to him, he already knows where he's going to pass, where he's going next. He's got elements of what Todd Cantwell has at his best. So I thought he'd done all right. I thought the link up between the front four was quite laboured at times, and I think that's because it's the first time the front four played together. So Diamandi gets pass marks for me. He didn't set the header alight, I don't think, but I think there's enough to see that there's definitely a player in there.
Aye, definitely. I think one of the things we need to remember about Diamandi is he's not kicked a ball for November. He's the best part of 3 months off. So I think it was quite important to get him in, especially in a cup tie against, without any disrespect, lower league opposition. Get him a run out, get his fitness up, get him used to team, how his team played. I think it was important as well bringing in Oscar Cortez. I've got to say I was quite impressed with him. I thought he's quite different to what we've already got in the wide areas. We've seem to have quite a lot of pace funnily enough, we were complaining of having no pace at the beginning of the season. We seem to have quite a bit of it now with Matondo, McCausland coming in. Cortez seems to fit a wee bit better for against a low block. Seems to be a kind of physical kind of winger that could maybe shrug off a player, can beat a man. For what we were seeing yesterday, he's got a good cross on him, some nice touches. What was your thoughts on him overall?
You've said you've touched on the low block there as well, and I think where we've struggled over the last few years is adding pace into the wide areas against the low block, and that pace is set up to run in behind. What I really like about Oscar Cortez is he doesn't look to run in behind. He looks to get the ball and then run at a player, and that won't come off every time. And we do need a bit more variation from our front line, but we don't really have MD who picks the ball up and runs at players, and he done that time and time again. Not just yesterday, but in the last couple of sub appearances beforehand, we've seen him do that as well. And it's just a different option we had. It's a different type of winger. It's not like for like with Rabbi Matondo or Ross McCausland. He got the man of the match at the stadium, and I thought deservedly so. I thought he just looked sharp, Scott. And long-term listeners of the Gallant Few, and I've said it many times in SM media, Rangers tend to be more successful when they've got different variations of attacking, and one of those variations of attacking is shooting from outside the box. It forces the low block to step out, and also Cortez, he was getting his shots away, and I love to see that. You're on mute, Shot.
100%. I was quite impressed with the link-up between him and Borna. Obviously, we've seen it for a goal. Borna Barisic is one that kind of divides support a wee bit in terms of, obviously, I think there's a general belief that we should let him go on a free contract at the end of the season. I think he's had his time. But for me, I think it's important for Borna to be a bit part player. But when he does come in and contribute, there was with Ryan Kent and Alfredo Morelos last year, and they seemed to down tools anytime they played for us under Michael Beale. And I think it's quite important for Borna to go out in a high note, and contributing with goals like he did yesterday is ultimately going to get him a more favoured reception when he leaves. What do you think?
He's going to forever be Marmite until he moves on for Rangers. I think history will be kind to Borna Barisic when we look back, but it's probably another example of one of the players who have just stayed on a season or too long. I think you can acknowledge what he's done for Rangers over the last few years, acknowledge that he has done well, and at the same time admit that we do need to freshen up that position and move him on. But yesterday, I thought he was decent enough. He lined up well with Oscar Cortez, as you said, and the game suited Borna Barisic. We know probably his only mode of attack is getting to the byline, getting a cross ball over, and also Cortez was creating all the space for Borna to run into, so it really did suit him. I don't know about you, Stuart. I found it interesting that, and I don't know if I'm looking too much into this, but the double sub made was the full left wing off for a new left wing, so Barisic and Cortez on for Yilmaz and Matondo. I don't know if the manager's trying to create some partnerships there, or if it's just trying to give everybody a run out.
I could see some partnerships coming on. I think Ridvan and Matondo are potentially creating one. I was saying this in a podcast earlier on tonight that I thought that Matondo's coming in, he's getting numbers, which seems to be the biggest thing in football these days for me. He's obviously we know Andrew for our pod, and he's a big Matondo fan. I think if he's come in on the left, he's kind of taking Seema's role, and he's kind of making it his own. He's getting in the box, he's getting on the end of loose shots that have been parried by the keeper. He's carrying the ball, he's being a threat. I think the only thing he needs to work on is his decisiveness in the final third. I think his decision making's still got a lot of questions that need answered. But in terms of him going forward, as long as he keeps producing the numbers, I'm more than happy with Robbie. I thought at the beginning of the season he was one of our biggest threats. And when he got injured against Motherwell in the 1-0 win, the game that we all kind of want to forget about, there was a kind of, he almost had a pin drop Rune Ibrox that day, because we were like, well, where's the creativity going to come from? It was in top of his game. He was running a show, basically. So I think him and Ridvan are the first choice, maybe going forward. Expect to see some more minutes into Cortez in the coming weeks. But what's your thoughts on the left-hand side? Drink Borna keeps his place for Wednesday, or Drink, you see Ridvan and Matondo coming back in?
For me, Ridvan's my left back. I really like Ridvan Yilmaz. I like the bravery that he has, and he does have the tendency to go inside and play the direct balls into the number 9s. But we're seeing the more games he gets, the more he's changing up his runs, and I'm going to speak about variation quite a lot. Like if we talk about players going forward, because I think we need that. But you know, the he will almost act in instinct, whereas Borna Barisic is a bit more conservative. So I think Yilmaz, he's my first pick at the moment. I think Barisic, if I know he gets a hard time, and like I've been included in that, he is an able left back. What we need for the next 6 months. Our issue has been that we've over relied on him, as we have in many positions, but he's an able challenger of Ridvan Yilmaz.
Aye, definitely. I think the goal last night gives his confidence a wee boost as well. As long as he keeps kind of coming in and doing his bit part role well, then I think we'll all be more than happy to give him a good send off at the end of the season, which I think he would have got. But you don't want to see him down in tools the way previous players have, I think is what I'm trying to get at.
No, you want to maybe be a Scott Arfield as opposed to a Ryan Kent, don't you?
100%. What's your overall thoughts on Oscar Cortez?
I really like him. But again, if I'm being completely honest, I'm very guilty of jumping on bandwagons too early. Like, oh, they want Diamande captain after his 10-minute cameo against Aberdeen the other night. But Cortez, again, he's raw. He's young. He's raw. But I do like. I don't know if it's similar to Ross McCausland, like coming through and just that. Absolutely, it might be fearlessness, it might be naivety, but they're just so direct and they're so confident that they're in their ability to, when they're attacking. I do like it, and I think you need that in a winger. Obviously, talk about rawness. His positional sense will need to be worked on, and I think that's only natural for a young player, because he does tend to drift a wee bit too far inside, but no great at getting back into the left wing or supporting the full back. But I think that will come with time, as we're starting to see with Ross McCausland on the other side.
Aye, definitely. I think with the markets we're shopping in now, I would quite like us to bring in some more kind of Colombians. I watched a couple of the matches over the last few weeks, and there's no one skinny player on that park, Colin. They're all kind of well built almost built for Scottish football, you could say. They've got good technical ability, and I think we could potentially have a wee steal on my hands, to be honest with you.
Rangers need to be doing that. But I'm still a believer that we're overtaxed in Scotland. In England, you're up against the well-faced clubs in the world, and in the not even in the big 6 leagues, but the lower divisions beneath the big 6 leagues, like Bundesliga 2, League 2, Serie B, are outpriced everywhere. So we need to be clever. We need to be going far and wide in the world to look at what talent's out there.
Aye, definitely. Right, on it, first half, we begin 1-0 up. Second half, team comes out, intensity slowed down. The thing that caught me for the match was the manager having to bring on John Lundstrom. As soon as he's brought on John Lundstrom's geeing up players, he's getting them in proper positions, and he starts playing like a Philippe Clement player. Starts playing direct passing. He's moving the ball quickly. Like I say, he was harrying his teammates to sort of get into positions and whatever else. Do you think that that's a sign that there's still things for imagine the work on that he's got to. I think the 3 subs he made was Ridvan, Cantwell, and Lundstrom had to come on. I think there's still some stuff that Clement needs to kind of iron out.
I think we can see the marked improvement in the players that have played regularly under Clement, and we need to remember that a lot of these players have played regularly because of injury as well. John Lundstrom for a long time was our only midfielder. So there's a wee bit of fortune on some of the players that have got more game time, but you can see the improvement in the players that have got more the regular game time. John Lundstrom, the prime example. I think he's been the most consistent and the most consistent outfield player. Jack Butland is well on his way to Player of the Year, but John Lundstrom, probably the biggest improvement since Clement came in and the most consistent. So I think you can see the drop off there between a John Lundstrom and a Ryan Jack and Nico Ration. And I think the worry for me was probably the drop off between Lundstrom's performance midweek and Ration yesterday and Jack yesterday. I mean, Jack was okay, probably on par. I thought Ration had quite a poor game, and I know that's kind of split opinion on Twitter. But you know, there's so much to work on beyond that 11 because we can't win trophies with 11 players. It is a squad game.
Aye, 100%. For me, Nico Raskin failed to deliver yet again yesterday. I've said it over in the Gallant Few a few times that I've yet to see what he can offer as a player. I know I'm well aware he's coming back for injury and stuff like that, but the Nico Raskin I think we've got in the building is the one that can take games by the scruff of the neck and control the midfield. I don't think he's doing that enough. I think that he's done it against Servette away in the second half, and he done it against Newcastle in a pre-season friendly. There's a lot of talk that he's even says it in the media himself that he wants a move down to the English Premier League where everybody wants to play. It's kind of like Holy Grail, but to me, he's got a wee bit of work to be done before anybody even thinks about coming in from.
Aye, and I think the argument or the defence of Nico Ration is that he's just back for injury. But my challenge back to that is we were seeing these type of performances before he got injured, and the drop off Nico Ration of the beginning of 2023. You know, when he first came in January, February, it was tremendous. He did drop off towards the summer, as most of the Rangers players did. And he's never really got going this season. So, you know, before that injury, we were still seeing these signs. Just touching on that interview, I know that's been an interview flung at him over the last 24 hours saying, oh, he's never going to get a move to the PL. He should just shut up and not say anything about it. In his defence, he was asked directly, do you have any ambitions to play in the Premier League? And then the headlines have just been turned. But even out with that, I have no issues with players coming saying, no, one day I want to move into one of the best leagues in the world. The issue is they have to perform to back that up.
Aye, 100%. And to me, the manager's midfield pair seems to be Lundstrom, Lawrence and Cantwell just now. Seems to be 3 favours going forward. What's your thoughts on the manager's kind of handling of the injury situation? Obviously, Lawrence and Jack have came back. Jack was taken out of the squad midweek to be given a rest as a precaution. Same thing was done with Tom Lawrence yesterday. Do you think that's something that needs to be done going forward to make sure his players are fit?
I think it's long overdue, mate. I think with these players, their injury history speaks for itself. Like, I imagine if Kemar Roof gets back into the fold, we'll do the exact same with him, except we'll maybe let him play one game, miss 3 instead of play one, miss 1. It is long overdue, and I think Clement recognises that this is a marathon, not a sprint. We can't be short-sighted and just focus on the next game. As much as he's saying he wants his players to focus on the next game, he is aware that we've got a really important league game on Wednesday night, another important league game on Sunday, and the games just keep on coming. And a lot of people might say it's obvious, it's an obvious decision to make. It's not just as easy as that when you do have limited options in the middle of the park. It is easy to just gamble and get players involved in the matchday squad. So I'm glad he's being cautious about it, and time will tell. Like, there may be a game where, we've not included Jack or Lawrence and we could have really done with one of them off the bench, for example. Until that comes, we'll not know if it works or not. But right now, I'm happy with the approach I'm seeing.
Aye, definitely. See, before we get into like a second goal, I want to get back to the defence a wee bit. Connor Goldson yesterday, last Wednesday, ball gets hoofed up over the top of his head. He makes, he's into a bit of a tangle. Miofsky obviously wins and finishes. How did you think his performance was yesterday? Do you think that, to me, he needs to be kept in a team for his leadership skills alone? I've been saying recently, I think Connor Goldson's a bit more an average defender than, I think he's a wee bit overhyped. But I think when he's not in the team, we miss him. What's your thoughts on him and Suter going forward? Would you like to see Leon Balogun coming back in, or would you keep it with Goldson and Suter?
It's a hard one, mate, because I totally agree with you that the players around the defence don't play as well when Connor Goldson's not there, because he is a leader, whether we like it or not. But at the same time, he's not playing well right now. He is in a bit of a rut the last few games. And my issue has been that you can recognise Connor Goldson's having a poor game, but until there's someone able to step into the shoes, it's a hard one, because I don't think Davis or Suter have been consistent enough, either of them. That's why we've seen Goldston and Balogun. I think the conversation changes a bit when Leon Balogun comes back for injury, because I'd be more comfortable with Balogun and Suter as opposed to Suter and Davis right now. Because Davis and Suter, they are prone to a bomb scare every couple of games, and that's maybe been a bit harsh on Suter because he's been excellent in the last 2-3 games, but he has to do that on a longer term consistent basis until I don't have that fear anymore.
See, Tav, just quickly, do you think there's been a dip in form since he went a break? Because he's not really affecting matches like the way he was kind of post-winter break, wasn't he? A pre-winter break, sorry. He's not... It's not that he's not getting any numbers, but do you think that's down to come on changing his role a wee bit and telling him maybe to stay back a wee bit more? Do you think it's maybe because the right-hand side seems a wee bit more balanced now? With Ross McCausland, kind of just... What's your thoughts on it?
I think so. I was actually thinking about this today. I can't quite put my finger on it as he... Like, I don't think he's...
Maybe to say he's dropped off's a wee bit harsh, but he isn't as effective as what he was. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think he's playing poorly. I don't think he's poor, but I think because we've relied on him so much, we're noticing that he's not involved in everything we do. So it's probably a good thing that our right back isn't a playmaker. But I think you're right. He's asked to defend a wee bit more. When he's going forward, he is being asked to come inside a lot more, and Ross McCausland's drawn it wide. And I don't know if it's... I think it's maybe a mixture of the two. And I think we need to remember he's played a lot of football over the last 5-6 years. I think, to me, yesterday, it looked as if he needs a good rest. It's a pity Dujon Sterling wasn't available, because that would have been a perfect game to play him at right back. And I would like to see where we can give some minutes to Tav on the bench, let him rest, because he is a big player, Scott. We will need him for the business end of the season, but it'll be interesting to see, like, does he just tail off and, almost be a behind the scenes leader as opposed to popping up with 10 goals. I'd rather we're spreading the goals about than him popping up with 10 goals a season.
Do you think kind of now's the time to start looking to plan with it for life without him and Goldson?
I think the time was 2 years ago, mate. I'll be honest. And it's odd. I'm a huge defender of Tavernier and Goldson, but my issue's always been that when they have dipping forms or they make mistakes, that there's no able deputies. I don't think... It still remains to be seen if Dujon Sterling can perform at right back the way he performs in midfield. If he does, then I think we're laughing. But there's not been an able challenger for James Tavernier since Nathan Patterson left. That's been my issue. Goldson, we've had some inconsistent centre halves, but there's nobody really pushing for that slot. So I think that's been a gap for us for the last 2 seasons, mate.
Aye, definitely. It's just because there's been the odd rumour going about Tav in Saudi, and it doesn't really seem to be going away. There was murmurings again in January, and the rumour has it that there's a contract offer sitting on him, sitting waiting for him for the summer. And I'm just thinking, like, is now the time to kind of almost cash in on him, and maybe get, or maybe get another year, 18 months out of Tav, because he's still producing big numbers. He's still coming up in the big moments. He's still scoring winners in cup finals. End of the day, do you know what I mean? So it's one of them ones you'll know what you're missing when he's away. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, and again, he's another one that history's got to look very kind on. But like, I'd be gutted to see Tav go in the summer. But equally, I'd be gutted if he was the only option at right back again. We need somebody to come in and challenge him.
100%. Moving on to the goal, obviously. Todd Cantwell gets the ball in the box, good bit of play, skips by a defender, puts in an excellent cross, even catches the keeper off his line. There's a bit of a skirmish in the box, and ball falls to Silva. Me takes his goal really well. What was your thoughts on the second goal and Fabio Silva's performance yesterday?
I like Silva. I do like his movement. He's much more mobile than Dessers. He's a different type of striker than Dessers, and I think this whole conversation that the fans are having of is he a number 9, is he a number 10, or is he something else? The manager sees him as a striker. I think that's evident enough. But I like he doesn't give defenders a minute. He's constantly moving when the ball's nowhere near him, and he just keeps defenders on their toes, which is what I like to see in my number 9s. And again, he's in the right place at the right time, just because he does have that awareness of what's going on around him and where to go. So his finishing could probably be a wee bit more clinical. That's been a Rangers issue for the last 2-3 years. But hopefully, the more game time and the more goals he gets, the more confident he becomes, and the more clinical he becomes.
Match fitness as well is going to come into it.
Aye.
100%.
Aye. And I think we need to remember that I think we are quick to judge January signings. Like, no, this isn't a Rangers thing. This is a football fan thing in general, mate. Sure, you'll know, like, we judge January signings the same way with the summer signings. By February, we're giving them the same base, but these guys need to come in and connect with new players and that. But I do like the look of Cortez and Silva in the same team.
Aye, definitely. And me, it kind of summed up in Clement's presser when he says, he's talking about Fabio Silva at the end. He says that he's everything that he's looking for in the number 9, and that's where he's going to continue to play. He wraps off, he's moving the ball quickly, he's doing the channels, he's doing everything that really Clement's seen in the history of Clement, as Clement strikers go anyway. Silva seems to be a wee bit taken with Rangers just now. Seen his presser yesterday, he was absolutely loving it. As he was doing his presser, fans were singing his name in the background. Says he loves the place, different comments like that. And you know what I'm going to say next? He's got a year left in his deal at Wolves. Is there any chance at all?
I think it's most likely that their biggest chance to keep them longer term is 18-month loan deal. I think we are. His wages alone at Wolves will just be astronomical, mate. And I think what Wolves will want to get back, even if they lose money, we're talking in the £15 million region. I think that's still too much for us. That, you know, you can understand why players fall in love with Rangers. Obviously, you and I are biased, right? But playing in front of 50,000 fans, playing for trophies, you know, getting regular game time, like playing high pressure games, even if the quality dips off a bit. So I actually said it a couple of weeks ago on another pod. I don't know why we've kind of stopped looking at the 18-month loan options. I don't know if James Sands has just scarred us for life with that, but I would like us to ask that question.
Aye, 100%. See, obviously, while we're on the topic of Silva, to me, it's a case of it depends what Wolves want out of the deal, and it depends what the player wants as well. To me, if Rangers are up for talking about it, and the player says to Wolves, I just want to go to Rangers and nobody else, then I think it's game on, because I think if you put, excuse me, if you put a big enough kind of sell-on clause in a contract, and I think that's where Wolves get their money. Just quickly running back to left mid, see the kind of the arrival of Cortez and the resurgence of Matondo. Has that made you forget about Simato because he's not been on the park?
No.
No.
It's no. Seema was out with Jack Butland. Seema was my player of the year up until he got injured. He's been excellent, and I think he passes the eye test and the statisticians test. You know, you can tell the impact he's having on the game when you watch him, but he backs that up with numbers, with assists and goals. And I'm not saying it's doom and gloom without him, but we need our wingers, at least one of our wingers, to step up and play consistently to replace him. I think Ross McCausland is probably the closest to doing that with the way he's improving.
Right.
But again, it's a lot of pressure for somebody who's just broke through for the academy. So this is where I'm looking for McCausland, Matondo and Cortez to all chip in with that. I'd like to say Strot right, but he's not gave me any evidence yesterday that he's going to be reliable.
Aye, I know. Just moving on to here, I need to give them a shout out for the away crowd. They took the Ibrox yesterday. It's probably one of, if not the biggest away followings we've had this season at Ibrox. I thought they came with a real intent to try and they competed. They competed. They made it a good old-fashioned cup tie to me. What was your thoughts on them as a whole?
Aye, first of all, like, great turnout. You heard the fans throughout, which always adds to the atmosphere. Some of these cup ties can be a bit turgid on and off the pitch as well, but
Right.
it was a full house for the Rangers end as well, which I'm surprised at for a 5:30 kickoff.
Right.
So it made the atmosphere quite enjoyable, even if the game from a Rangers point of view wasn't the most exciting. But I thought Ayr did do well. They frustrated Rangers without parking the bus is probably the best way I could summarise it. And fair play, because I don't like to criticise the likes of a Livingston or a Ross County for coming and putting 10 men behind the ball, because it's no their job to make an exciting game for Rangers fans. It's their job to try and get something for the game. Ayr United, they were brave, the way they set up, and they put Rangers in a bit of bother a couple of times. We've seen that way, forcing pressure on Golson, Tavernier, trying to get down by the fullbacks as well. So they played fairly well on the I think that's fair to say. And I think if they play like that, it's hard to take those performances into the league. We see it with Europe, don't we? We have a massive performance in Europe, then try to translate that into playing at home with Ross County. But if they do that, they'll have a decent season.
Aye, definitely. Obviously, Scott Brown's United's new manager. He came out with a few comments at the end of the match, saying that his second goal shouldn't have happened because Fabio Silva should have been sent off. What's your thoughts? Was it a red?
I think Silva's lucky to stay on, mate. I think he is. I think he should have had 2 yellow cards. Do you mean was his yellow straight red?
No, it was at the second yellow.
I think he should have been 2 yellow cards. I think we need to be, if we're going to criticise referees, which we do, I think you need to be fair about it. Colin's wrote that one wrong. So Scott Brown is he's right with that comment. What's your thoughts?
Aye, I would probably agree with you, if be brutally honest, mate. If we're being a wee bit balanced and non-judgmental about it, it's probably a second yellow. I still think the game was quite comfortable for us, right enough. I don't really think Ayr offered too much going forward. Sorry. I don't think Ayr offered too much going forward, but it probably was a second yellow. Willie Colin, he had a better game yesterday than what he did the last time he reffed the Rangers match. Do you think there was an improvement there, or Was there any big talking points?
If I'm being honest, probably the biggest talking point was Silva. For me, I actually panicked when I seen how quickly Colin pulled the cards out, and I thought no, because he was wrongly booked Silva early on, but I thought anytime he booked somebody early on, he just goes card happy. So I thought we were going to see maybe 6, 7 yellow cards, and he was going to let the game get away from him, but. I don't think I don't really have too much to complain about, if I'm being honest, as much as like overall we Willie Collum. He's no flavour of the month with me. On yesterday, if I'm being objective, I don't think there's too much to complain about. Again, I'm probably the minority of Rangers fans there.
Right, we'll move on to Ross County before we finish up. Lineups, can you see, Jink, do you think there's any major changes coming in to Wednesday?
I think there'll be changes from what we've seen yesterday, but it'll probably be closer to what we've seen last week. So I can see Yilmaz coming in at left back. The midfield will be drastically different. I really like to look at Lundstrom, Lawrence, and Cantwell. I think I was on a pod with you and I said that just the range of passing you get between Lundstrom and Lawrence just opens up every area of the pitch. I really like that, and it almost gives. Lawrence is more of a forward-thinking player, but he's a combative number 8, I would say. So he helps shore up that midfield with John Lundstrom, and it gives Cantwell a bit of a free role. So I think that's the most important part of Wednesday, and I think we'll maybe see Ross McCausland on in the right wing. I don't know who starts in the left. I'm not too sure.
Do you see Dessers coming back in through the middle?
No, I think
No.
the only reason would be to give Silva a break, because he's went from playing no football to a lot of football. And I'm not too concerned either way, if I'm being honest. But I think Silva keeps the jersey.
Aye, 100%. I need to agree with most of what you said. I think Cortez. It's hard to tell. I could maybe see Cortez getting moved over to the right. Matondo coming in on the left. Lundstrom, Cantwell, Lawrence again. I think you'll see Dessers through the middle. I think you'll see Goldson and Suter with Ridvan and Tav at the back. Butland obviously in goal. For me, this is probably our most important game this season. Biggest game's the next one, and it's a chance really for us to. Ross County are a wee bit of turmoil now, obviously with the sacking of Derek Adams. To me, it's a free hit. Go and score 3, 4, 5 goals and get yourself top of the league.
Aye, Rangers. It doesn't matter who Ross County bring in. Like next, there's no disrespect here, but they're still fighting relegation. They're still Ross County at the bottom of the league, and Rangers are challenging for the league. Rangers are serious about challenging and going the distance. We need to be comfortable in these games, and comfortable can either be going taking plenty of goals off the opposition, or getting 2 or 3 goals up early on and just seeing the game out. Like, I don't really care what side of that coin it falls on, but Rangers need to start getting comfortable with these home games, and I think it will be a comfortable win on Wednesday.
We've not really seen too many 4-5-0s this season, haven't we? No, it's been kind of come on's first game in charge. I think we beat Hibs 4-0 at home, but usually you see a couple of very good results in through a year after Rangers at home, but like you say, they need to become a wee bit more convincing. Just quickly, your last thoughts on Hibs? We get Hibs away in the Scottish Cup tonight. What do you think?
I think if we go back from well, first of all, like, I'll take that tie. Like, if Rangers are going to win the cup, they need to be everybody in it. Ideally, you'd want a home tie, but Rangers need to be confident in going to Easter Road. That is probably one of the more difficult fixtures we could have got. If we go back to the last time we played at Easter Road, myself and Andrew for the pod were there, and we both said afterwards that for the get-go, Hibs, and credit to Hibs, any time they're at home to either side of the old firm, they will set up to have a go, to varying degrees of success, I may add, but they always go and take it to try and win the home game. So I think that'll suit Rangers, if I'm being honest. I think Rangers still are a bit better when, you know, teams give them space to try and hit and press against. So no, I'll take it short.
To me, it's a bit of a big win for you, because we could have Aberdeen at Pittodrie, or Hearts at Tynecastle, or Celtic at Celtic Park. So, like you say, Hibs open up. So, I think it's not a comfortable tie by any means. I mean, we could have got Morton at home, or any of them, but I'm quite happy with it, to be brutally honest with you. So, last thing, what's your prediction for Wednesday, mate?
I'm going to go 4-1 Rangers, because I still don't think we're solid enough and tightened up at the back. I hope Rangers prove me wrong, come away with a clean sheet, but 4-1 is my prediction.
I'm going to go 5-0. I think Rangers are going to take a good few goals off Ross County and get goal difference up. Anyway, Colin, thank you for coming on. You want to get a quick plug over the pod?
No, thank you very much to yourself and Scott for having me on. Always love coming on SM Media. So if you want to find more of what myself and Scotty do, over at Gallant Few, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, and we also have a Patreon service. So for £1 a month, you can get an extra 5 shows a week on Patreon. So www.patreon.com/The Gallant Few.
All right, mate. Magic. Right. Well, thank you for coming on.
Always a pleasure, mate.
Right. And I'll see you later on. Cheers.